development. Is it Ryan Tannehill's job to mentor Malik Willis?
I wouldn't say it's his job, but it should be the expectation just as a player. You can't be a leader of a team and say, it's not my job to do it, right? I was in Carolina when DJ Moore was drafted as a first-round pick. He's drafted. I'm the older guy. I need to help him to be the best version of himself so he can be the best and so our team can be the best team, right? I hate this veteran mentality. Everyone, every year they're looking to replace you, dude. Like, it's understood, right? But you can't come out and say it's not your responsibility because now you give us sitting in this chair and the fans reason to say he's not all in. Now people are questioning if he's really the leader of this team simply because he came off that way. Obviously, it's not his job, it's the coach's job. But as a vet, it's your responsibility to help everyone. And I think as a rookie, I would be uncomfortable hearing him say that. Like, dang, like, can I really come to him about these things? Like, that's not how it should be. Lee Evans was that guy for me. Anquan Bolden was that guy for me. And I remember Anquan telling me, and Lee both, something along the lines of, hey, it's my job to help you compete and to really come for my job. That's why they brought you here to do. But it's also my job to make sure that I'm playing at a level so that you never touch the field. And that's the way it's supposed to work. Competitively, you take care of your brother. Don't call someone your brother or your teammate if you're out here and you're only leading when it's convenient.
I got a couple thoughts on this. A, I respect Kurt Warner to the highest of the mountains, and he knows that. I think the reaction to this, let's take us through Ryan Tannehill's shoes for a second. You're the starting quarterback of a team. They trade your number one wide receiver without you knowing. He said he was shocked by that. That happens on Thursday. Friday, they draft your ultimate replacement and say, okay, sorry. They don't give you a text to tell you they're going to do that. And then on Monday, you're looking at reporters and you're answering questions, and they're like, are you going to mentor? He said he texted him and welcomed him. And if Ryan Tannehill made a mistake here, maybe the mistake was just saying it out loud.
Yes.
Maybe he could have kept it to himself and said, hey, that's not my job. But gosh, if I'm Ryan Tannehill, I'm also looking around and saying, you know, I'm in the final year of my contract. I'm making $27 million, and you're using one of those picks on a quarterback. You're trading A.J. Brown for what? For what? For a rookie that I need to now grow and do? I think there's some frustration that could be brewing inside of Tannehill, and I also think most NFL players probably feel this way, Tori. Am I wrong?
A lot. Some of them do. And the guys that do, you can feel it, right? Like, and it's annoying. Like, to be completely honest, there's nothing like watching. That's why I think hazing is stupid. I think anything that you can do to slow down a young guy or to make them feel like they can't come to you, you can't call yourself a leader if you're putting guys in the locker room in that situation. And listen, Ryan Tannehill's a great guy, so I don't want to think, I'm not attacking Ryan Tannehill. Like, every time I've been around him, he's been awesome, he's been respectful. But that thought process of it's not my job, like, I think it's a little overrated. Like, you help the people that, and he said that, but the reality of it is, it's naturally going to happen. They're not going to be in the film room. He's going to be like, hey, what are you saying right here?
Right.
It's just like, look, like that's simply not going to happen.
What's the job? To be available to answer questions, to not get in the way of their development.
Show them how it's done. It's like you're the big brother. Show them how it's done, right?
Show them what does that mean? Show it like
it's going to be physical
Aaron's
on the
taking
field.
Jordan Love and saying, "Let me show you how this is done, so you can do it really well."
It's going to happen. It's, as a mentee, that's basically who you are. You're going to watch, right? You're going to see. It's like the big brother thing. Your little brothers are watching everything that you do. However, when you have questions or concerns, what are you seeing in this? What are you thinking in these situations, right? They play the most cerebral position in the league. And so you're going to have to rely on things that they've seen, experiences that he's had, and they're both going to go through it. Oh, how did you handle this slump, right? How did you handle losing in the playoffs, right? Ryan Tannehill mentioned that he had to go to therapy for it, right? He had to go to therapy for it. So that's something that I'm sure, like, that tension from the offseason, like, it's a stressful experience. But I think to this, it's going to be overblown. It gives us something to talk about now. But the reality of it is Ryan Tannehill is going to do a great job leading, but it gives that outside pressure. And again, if I'm the player, I'm questioning how he feels about me being there. Obviously, you're going to feel threatened if they draft someone at your position. I personally never felt that way because every locker room I stepped in, I knew that every day they were looking for somebody that's better than me and cheaper than me. That's just how it works in the NFL. However, quarterbacks are the only position that can say, this is my team. So that's why they're little crybabies all the time. But they're the only people that can really do that. So I understand both sides of it, but I think it's going to be overblown. And by the time they get in the locker room, we're going to be talking in camp.
Because I think the reaction was overblown. Everyone being
absolutely, yeah. Like we're taking this out of proportion. When we get to August, we're going to hear Malik talk about how Ryan was great to him and how he helped him so much this offseason. That's what we're going to hear. But right now, we're talking about how he's not starting this thing off the right way. And he gave us that view.
Quarterback is also the only position where you have this consciousness among the general managers and the personnel people of, if I draft another guy, what's the impact, not just on the player, but on the team? What message does that send about the leadership of the room, the direction of the overall organization? You don't think about that when you're drafting another running back. The Seahawks don't think that when they're getting a third running back. It's just, well, we've had guys who are hurt, and we need another one. Quarterback's different. I thought when I first saw the Tannehill quote, it sounded familiar. Show me Joe Flacco 2019 on the Broncos after they drafted Drew Lock.
Listen, I got so many things to worry about. I'm trying to go out there and play good football. I'm trying to go out there and play the best football of my life. So as far as a time constraint and all that stuff, I'm not worried about developing guys or any of that. That is what it is. And like I said, I hope he does develop. But I don't look at that as my job. My job is to go win football games for this football team.
So pretty much,
Bam.
If not the exact words, though some of them were exactly the same, it's the same general mentality, which is my job is to go out and play at a really high level, not just for myself, but for the team. Where I have an issue with how the Tannehill comments have been construed is you're not going to find many people who don't say that Ryan Tannehill is a high-character individual. And he's talking about serious stuff. You're losing a playoff game and going into such a dark place you can't sleep, and you got to go to therapy. I mean, we talk so much about mental health right now and the importance of that. Here you have a guy trying to answer these questions from reporters about a really difficult subject with honesty and vulnerability, and we pick out the one thing where it's not even the whole sentence. It's, I don't think it's my job to. However, basically, I will. In no point is he saying I'm not going to help Malik Willis. I don't want him to develop, that I'm going to be mean to him or something. It's just, yeah, he's got to go play football, not just for his own career, but because the Titans are a contending team. They're not
number one seed last year.
It's not in the job description that he has to do anything with that. And I think we like to do this blanket statement of everyone should mentor the next person. I think it's individual. I think if you're on the back nine, you know you're retiring, you're a Josh McCown, Ryan Fitzpatrick-like player. You could say Tom Brady when they drafted Garoppolo, and it's learn from me. It's up to you. I'm not going to get in your way. If you have a question, I'll answer it. And maybe that's different. Like if you're an OG and you're like, yeah, I know I'm done. This person's inheriting the team. I get it. But if you take it case by case and you're looking at Ryan Tannehill after this loss, after taking a step back from what he was in 2020, and really needing to prove himself to stay the quarterback of this team, having a chip on his shoulder and feeling like they didn't text me and tell me they were going to take him, getting rid of his wide receiver, him going to that dark place. I sort of liked what I heard from him because it's someone who wants to address issues that he's having by having those discussions, by being vulnerable with the media when he doesn't have to, by not saying, I'm making $40 million a year and I'm okay with that. This is the guy who wants to take his team to the Super Bowl, and I liked hearing that, and I sort of liked he's focused on that. Is he going to get Malik Willis's way? Obviously not. Malik Willis might be the solution and answer, but there is something at a healthy competition, and they knew what they were doing when they took him.
There's no question. And Malik Willis is a guy who needs to sit. Drew Lock took over with 5 games to go in the 2019 season for Joe Flacco. There were some other situations going on there, but Lock was going to get a chance to play with Malik Willis. Ideally, he is the rare quarterback who you go, you're so talented, but you need to sit because the offense he comes from, like the one Matt Corral came from, the one Sam Howell came from, it's so simplistic. You've just got a ton to learn. So Malik Willis is in the absolute perfect situation for him to go there and sit. But on that other hand, you've got a quarterback who needs to be able to go out and play at a high level, not just because of his career, but because this team is ready to win right now. And on a very fundamental level, by the way, and this is totally self-serving to those of us in the media, when people give honest answers like Ryan Tannehill did and open up, and our reaction as a media or as fans is to shoot the guy down, and how could he dare say that? it just feeds into having everybody answer with the same old cliche.
He was honest.
Disgruntled. He's a little salty. I kind of like it for him this year. He's not okay with being just a redemption story that came from Miami and got his team to the 1 seed.
You've talked to him. That's the real Tannehill. That's really him.
Agree. Yeah. I don't know. He is going to be scrutinized, though. Him not showing up to voluntary stuff is going to be put under a microscope.
He's there now.
The whole way.
Like, he's back, and I think he's loaded in. And if anything, if this rattled his cage a little bit, I think he was already rattled from the playoff loss as he spoke. But, like, maybe Malik Willis is the most important thing for Ryan Tannehill this year. There's a fire that's just sitting right there in the quarterback's room every day.